Now on KOAM News at 6, some area school districts are working with health departments to track COVID cases among students and staff. Plus, Missouri's Attorney General files a lawsuit over school districts mandating masks. And local healthcare facilities say interest for vaccine booster shots has increased.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
As many area schools head back to the classroom this week, they face continuing challenges from the pandemic. This is KOAM News at 6. Local schools are working with health departments and families to track COVID-19 cases. The Carl Junction School District plans to track numbers daily as they receive updates from the Jasper County and Joplin Health Departments. The district's assistant superintendent says they'll use a dashboard to keep track of cases, determining how they operate for the school year.
If we had a situation where we saw that we were having a significant increase in numbers, then we would take that into consideration and we would use that information to make decisions. I can tell you that currently our numbers are very low. We have 0 staff members in isolation or quarantined. We've only got 4 students that are isolated.
The Carl Junction School District will compile data every Wednesday and post it onto their district website's homepage where anyone can see current case numbers within the district. Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt has filed a lawsuit that seeks to stop school districts from enforcing mask mandates and other requirements aimed at slowing the spread of COVID-19. The lawsuit names Columbia Public Schools along with the district's Board of Education and board members, but is a class action lawsuit that would apply to any Missouri district requiring masks. The new school year began yesterday for several districts across Missouri, and more than 4 dozen districts are requiring students, teachers, and staff to wear face coverings. Local healthcare providers are getting more calls for third vaccine doses from immunocompromised people. People who are immunocompromised are currently eligible to receive a third dose of either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. It just has to be at least 28 days after they get the second dose. Others could be eligible to get a booster dose starting at the end of September. The CDC's current plan is that people can get a booster dose 8 months after they complete their vaccine round. But what if you get a booster shot less than 8 months later?
All of the information that we've been given, it would not cause the person any harm. It's just that it's not the recommended way to do it. The timing is kind of important in that you are starting to wane a little and then, you get the dose to boost things up.
Dr. Anthony Fauci has said waiting the full 8 months to get a booster would give your immune system a chance to mature before getting the additional shot. Tonight at 9 and 10, we're going to hear more about who's eligible for third doses and what the difference is in third doses and booster shots. Nick Kelly, the dangerous heat continues.
Yeah, you definitely notice it, Dow, as soon as you step a single foot or even a toe out the door, where it looks deceiving. I'll give you that. It looks beautiful from 7th and Range Line, but all this heat, all this humidity pushed highs into the mid-90s today. It made it feel like at least 103 to about 107 during the afternoon. Unfortunately, these heat advisories are not going anywhere just yet. They will hold on until Thursday, 7 o'clock in the evening. So that means a few more dry days where the heat and humidity can't pop up any random showers or thunderstorms that are staying well to the north up in the upper Midwest as the evening rolls on. In the meantime, temperatures, they're still kind of up there, lower to mid-90s across the board. Still feels as hot as 105 with the humidity staying pretty high as well. But these numbers will gradually drop off throughout the evening, down to 82 by 10. Eventually, I see lows dropping off into the mid-70s. We'll see how long this heat and humidity will stick around here in just a bit.
Catch you then. The town of Fairland, Oklahoma in Ottawa County is down to 3 police officers after the chief, assistant chief, and most of the other officers resigned last week. Reporter Meredith McCowan tells us why the officers walked away.
I'm proud of Fairland. I think Fairland can do a lot better.
Christian Good has lived in Fairland for 6 years.
I like our chief. We have a good chief. We have good officers.
There are now only 3 left to cover the entire town. Police Chief Aaron Richardson turned in his resignation on Wednesday. His resignation letter says it's due to a hostile work environment. plus slanderous allegations made about him by a Board of Trustees member. He didn't say what the allegations were, but said, quote, "It made it unattainable for me to continue to serve the town." The assistant police chief and 8 other officers also quit. One officer wrote in a letter there was a lack of support for the police department, and he didn't feel his position was safe or supported. Another officer felt the same way, saying it's sad a thriving department has been torn apart.
Being in Fairland, it's a pretty small community.
Russ Much Jr. says he's not concerned about his safety.
People look out for each other, in our neighborhood at least.
Mayor Trevor Berger says he's been in contact with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department and the Wyandotte Police Department to cover the calls. He declined to comment further.
The city of Fairland is hosting a special town meeting tonight at 7 at Fairland City Hall to discuss police coverage for the community. We're going to have more on that meeting for you tonight at 10. The leaders of legislative redistricting committees say newly drawn Oklahoma House districts approved by the legislature earlier this year will have to be redrawn. The announcement follows the release of U.S. Census Bureau data that shows population increases in urban and suburban parts of Oklahoma. The Oklahoma legislature approved new House and Senate districts based on U.S. Census Bureau estimates, not the final numbers released earlier this month. Coming up, Pittsburgh Community Schools receive an award for their performing arts programs. Plus, an animal rescue group is pulling out all the stops to help a long-term shelter dog get adopted. Missouri's alcohol-to-go law becomes permanent this weekend. The state started allowing to-go sales of alcohol from bars and restaurants in April of 2020. Due to a new law that takes effect this Saturday, that policy does become permanent. Now, under the law, the drink must be in a sealable container and the customer must make a food purchase along with the alcohol. To-go sales of alcohol were a good source of revenue for many restaurants during lockdowns. Cox Health is raising its minimum wage for employees. The healthcare provider, which has a hospital in Barton County, Missouri, will raise its minimum wage to $15.25 per hour starting in October. Cox Health's Vice President of Human Resources, Andy Hedspeth, said in a media release, quote, "We hope that this increase in the many people and departments it affects shows our employees how much we value them." Pittsburgh Community Schools are being recognized for their performing arts programs. The Kansas State High School Activities Association selected Pittsburgh for the Performing Arts School of Excellence Award. The award goes to the school with the best performances across all performing arts activities, including debate, music, and theater. One Pittsburgh upperclassman says winning the award can be a big inspiration for younger students.
And I found a lot more inspiration in my own seniors. I would give the credit to them because of them, I enjoyed what I did, and I'm trying to emulate and give it to the underclassmen.
Pittsburgh was chosen as the winner out of 356 eligible schools in the state. The Kansas City Animal Rescue Group is taking an aggressive approach to finding one of its longest-term shelter dogs a forever home. They're pulling out the stops with a 30-foot billboard campaign on a busy interstate to reach as many animal lovers as possible. Reporter Alan Shope shows us the big picture.
About 5 years I've been working on getting a permanent billboard.
11-year-old pit bull mix Sally Sue has never looked so good and so large.
Almost gets me a little bit emotional.
Kansas City animal advocate Scott Poor has done a lot to promote the plight of shelter pets, dogs that don't get adopted. And that's how this latest idea came to reality.
With social media, we tend to promote the same story to the same people. A billboard, especially on I-35, it's going to get thousands of views.
The goal, get pups like Sally Sue a forever home. She spent more than 2 years in a shelter.
All we need is that one right person to go by, make eye contact with the billboard, and we're saving another life.
Scott says, of course, billboards like this one are not cheap, but he's working on permanent funding so this one can stay up year-round. And then once Sally Sue gets adopted, he can promote another dog 30 feet high.
The dogs that'll be on the billboard are the ones that have been homeless the longest.
He adds,
any way that we can get some visibility to the longest term shelter dogs, I'll take it.
Because he says,
the goal is to find her not just a home, the perfect home, and as quickly as we do that, move on to the next shelter pet that deserves to be up there.
Now, if you'd like to know more about Sally Sue, you can contact the Always and Forever Animal Sanctuary in Spring Hill, Kansas. Later, the Southeast Lancers are looking to bounce back from last season with the help of several returning starters.
Plus, we'll continue with the heat and humidity for a few more days before it changes down the road. Could try to give us a break. Forecast up next. Well, this was definitely a deceiving day where it certainly looked nice to be out and about, but once you stepped a single toe out the door, you felt the heat and humidity holding on for yet another day, although it tried to back off a little bit compared to yesterday because of a good southerly wind that was a bit gusty at times. But still, we went from 95 for highs yesterday back into the mid-70s this morning, and at the very least, we topped out at 93, but as long as the humidity is still in play, it still made it feel like triple digits across the area this afternoon. Unfortunately, the heat and humidity couldn't muster up any random showers or thunderstorms, so we're going to stay dry this evening. But the heat and humidity, that's going to stick around as well. That's why everyone is still under heat advisories taking us until Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. So that's our main weather headline as we continue to track a couple of things as we continue down the road. Once we get past Thursday, I think a slight change in our setup could allow for some slight rain chances this weekend while some of the heat stays in place. But I think temperatures can go back into warm territory when our next front starts to work in by Monday. And we'll also try to use that to cash in on a better chance for thunderstorms. In the meantime, mostly sunny from 7th and Range Line. Still hot and humid though. 93 degrees, a south wind at 14, keeping the dew points in the mid to upper 60s around the Joplin area. It's keeping everybody quite hot, frankly. Most spots in the lower to middle 90s, maybe some as warm as 96 or 97 in our far western counties. But the humidity, these numbers are staying pretty high as well. Maybe a couple areas in the lower 60s, but with dew points in the upper 60s to lower 70s, it still feels as hot as 105, for example, out in Neodesha. So eventually, though, once we get past sunset, we'll cool down a little bit, 82 by 10, before we drop back into the mid 70s for tomorrow morning. Not a lot happening across the entire four-state region, but we pan to the north to see a slew of severe weather across parts of the upper Midwest along our frontal boundary that will start to come into play by Monday, but we got to wait for this upper level ridge to break down. That won't do so until we start to get into the weekend. So as long as this hangs tough, so too will the heat and humidity. Let's break down that forecast as we go through the rest of the evening. I think if you had any outdoor plans in mind for today, any late exercise, yard work, or even washing the car, I think once we get closer to sunset, it'll be safe to do so. And even during the morning hours, that'll be okay because temperatures will at least drop to 74 with a little bit of a drop in the humidity overall. But then it cranks right back into gear as soon as we head into the afternoon. 92 degrees by noon, pushing afternoon highs tomorrow. I think we go a little bit hotter because of a lighter south breeze overall. Highs around 97 in Joplin, but much of the area back in the mid, if not upper 90s. Factored the humidity into the equation, it's going to feel like 102 to 110. Numbers that will repeat themselves for Thursday as well, as long as the main upper level ridge maintains control. But it starts to weaken as we go into the weekend. That results in the heat and humidity, trying to give us at least a few isolated thunderstorms each afternoon. Well, didn't mean to do that, so let's just go ahead and get you right to the 7-day forecast because by Monday, a jet stream sinks on top of the region. I think that will be the chance for the front to come in, give us a better shot for rain, and bring highs back into the upper 80s. That will certainly be a better change of pace, but before that happens, though, Dal, alert days stay in for Wednesday and Thursday because of the high heat and humidity with highs around 96 or 97.
If you must be out, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up in sports, Kansas City Chiefs prepare for their preseason finale against the Vikings, and the Southeast Lancers lean on experience heading into their fall schedule. We're going to hear from the team after the break.
The Southeast Lancers are in the middle of their second week of fall practice. The Lancers are just 10 days away from their season opener. The Southeast took a bit of a step back last season, going 3-4 overall after going 7-3 in 2019. They did make the playoffs, though, for the third consecutive season. Now, Coach Cheney lists 9 starters back on each side of the ball, including all-league selections Cade Burdett, Colin Mutz, and Brandon Favuzzi. Now, that experience has Southeast feeling ahead of the curve to begin fall practice.
We only got about 5-6 plays on offense so far, but
Yeah, we're ahead. Anytime you've played games under your belt, it'll help you out for the next year.
I think our team's strong this season. We got a group of seniors that's been together since mini Lancer football. We got a couple young guys that have a lot of potential this year.
Moving on to the pros, the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-0 this preseason. On Friday, they'll play their final preseason game, hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Friday's game will be the final chance for players on the roster bubble to put something good on film. 1 week from today, the Chiefs will have to cut 27 players to get their roster down from 80 to 53. Offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy today talked about that tough process.
When it's all said and done with, I don't want to release anybody, and that's the tough part about being in this position, because not only do you get attached to the player because we spend so much time with them, but also you get attached to the person. And so it's hard watching those guys leave, but I understand the profession that we chose, and those tough decisions have to be made. But when it's all said and done with, I want to keep everyone, because everyone in this building can give us the opportunity to pursue our goals.
The Kansas City Royals are on a roll right now. The Royals beat Houston in their series opener last night and have won 7 of their last 8 games. Tonight is game 2 against the Astros. Brady Singer on the mound tonight for Kansas City with first pitch coming at 7:10. In about 20 minutes, the St. Louis Cardinals hit the field for their series opener against the Tigers. Right now, the Cards are 63-60, 4.5 games back in the National League wild card race. Jack Flaherty gets the start tonight for the Cardinals, aiming for his 10th win of the season. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
We take time now to honor a local veteran. Nelson Lindley served in the U.S. Army Air Corps from 1941 to 1945. The Carthage, Missouri native was stationed in Australia and the Philippines, and we salute Technician 5th grade Nelson Lindley, a 4-state hero. You can learn about hundreds of other heroes from all across this area, and we're also always looking for others to honor. You can nominate your own hero just by going to our website. It's very simple to do. Click on the link at KOAMnewsnow.com. Jordan Aubie joins us now with a look at what's coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Tonight at 9, going to hear from health professionals on why it's not a good idea to get a COVID-19 booster shot too soon. Also, reaction to President Biden not extending the deadline to withdraw from Afghanistan. And a new study shows those plexiglass barriers between people at many companies don't do a good job at preventing COVID-19. That, of course, much more coming your way tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Jordan, thanks. Hey, a 2-year-old golden retriever in Kansas will soon be using her nose in the fight against COVID-19. This is Ivory, and on top of being a very good girl, she's also a COVID-19 sniffing dog. Ivory is going out to a network of assisted living centers to sniff out COVID-19 among residents in hopes of preventing the spread of the virus. Ivory is currently a comfort dog at Benton House Assisted Living in Olathe, Kansas, and was trained in Atlanta to sniff out COVID-19. It's remarkable that that's possible, but dogs are remarkable animals.
This shows how amazing they are. We kind of don't deserve them, it feels like sometimes.
Some people would certainly say that. The weather, it's going to be hot, hot, hot.
Yeah, this is heat and humidity we definitely don't deserve, but we're stuck with it for a few more days. Highs are 97 tomorrow, and the alert days stay in place as well because of the heat advisory, so the high humidity, it'll feel like triple digits again during the afternoon.
Final sports notes.
Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy today also talked about former NEO running back Darwin Thompson and his performance so far in training camps. We'll have that right here tonight at 10.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.